In Learning Objective 16.7, we're going to look at advantages and disadvantages, this time of long-term debt financing as opposed to short-term. Again, for most small business, debt financing is pretty much limited to loans, usually from a bank. Large corporations have a lot of other options, like issuing corporate bonds, that sort of thing. Whatever you borrow your money from for the corporation or small business, you need to use what we call leverage. That simply means if you're borrowing money that's going to end up a rate of 5%, then you need to be sure you can make whatever you're selling earn more than 5%. Otherwise, you shouldn't borrow the money by any means. The long-term loan and interest rates depend on what you're doing with it, what the condition of the company is that's borrowing the money, and the reason. And maybe they'll ask, what type of collateral are you going to back the loan up with? Long-term loans are usually paid back in 3 to 7 years, but sometimes can be as long as 15 and 20 years. If you use corporate bonds, those must be repaid in full the date the bonds mature. In the interim, while someone's holding your bonds, you're going to have to pay interest on that money, generally monthly, until maturity. The bond dates have maturity dates. They range from 10 to 30 years after the date of issue, and most companies will spread those out. They'll sell some 10-year bonds, 20-year bonds, and 30-year bonds at the same time. It's called serial bonds, by the way. But there's different types of bonds that a corporation sells. One of them is debentures, one of them is mortgage bonds, and then convertible bonds. The debentures are just debt bonds. Mortgage bonds is where you're going to have some type of collateral, such as buildings and property, backing them. While the word convertible bonds simply means if you sell someone a bond from your corporation, whatever type it is, they have the option at some point specified on the paperwork to turn that bond into company stock. All these are sold again to raise debt capital. The long-term financing cost and ongoing cost of using stock, or otherwise equity, the costs are generally low. Of those we talked about, the most expensive is your typical long-term loan, just regular debt.